Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. It's hard to pinpoint exactly when everything started to change. My husband, Oliver, has always been the center of my world. From the outside, we seem like the perfect couple, and many see Oliver as an ideal partner. Handsome, successful, charming. He has a natural charisma and authority that don't require any extra effort. Approaching 57, he still has that commanding presence, while I, Margaret, sometimes feel like I'm aging a little faster. We've been married for 37 years now. Even though I often receive compliments from men, I've learned to ignore them. The most annoying ones come from overconfident types who think too highly of themselves. At 53, I've become comfortable in my own skin. My brown eyes, hair of the same shade, and a figure that still holds up have become my pride. I try to stay active, practice yoga, and maintain my shape, but I don't obsess over it. I enjoy good food and a glass of wine, which have added a few extra pounds, but I've accepted that as a natural part of life at this stage. I run a retail store and have a deep love for books, puzzles, and games of all kinds. Our children, Robert and Mary, are adults now but live nearby, so we often gather for family evenings. Our intimate life hasn't lost its spark either. The only issue, if it can be called that, is that I've never achieved complete satisfaction in bed, though it seems to bother Oliver more than it does me. He's attentive in every other way, and I genuinely enjoy being with him. One particular year, I decided to invite Oliver to my company's New Year's party. I always love dressing up for such events, and we usually have a great time. As always, Oliver fit right in, easily mingling with different people. After a while, I left him at the bar and went to dance. At first, I danced with female colleagues, but soon some young men joined us. Among them was Harry, our new supply manager. Harry and I always had a good rapport. Our interactions were easy and relaxed. He's young, athletic, and charismatic, and I couldn't help but notice that he was paying me a lot of attention. After a while, I went to check on Oliver and found him at the bar, looking rather unenthusiastic. He seemed a bit down, as if he was ready to go home. "Sorry, darling," I said. "I got caught up in conversation and lost track of time." "With everyone or just him?" Oliver replied, nodding toward Harry. "That's just Harry, a colleague," I explained. "We were just having a bit of fun, dancing." "I saw the way you looked at him," Oliver said calmly. "You like him." It didn't sound like a question, more like a statement. I was caught off guard. "What?" "No." "Well, maybe I hadn't thought about it before. But now that you mention it, I guess, yes, a little." I did enjoy the attention, and it was nice to be noticed in that way. But I didn't understand. Sure, Harry was attractive, but I wasn't interested in anything beyond a friendly, professional relationship. Even if Harry had shown interest, I wouldn't have pursued it. Surprisingly, Oliver didn't react with anger. He seemed to accept my words. We stayed at the party, and I made an effort to spend more time with him. When we got home, my attraction to Oliver was at its peak, and we had an incredible night together. Afterward, he asked, "Was it Harry who turned you on?" I thought for a moment, then decided to be honest. "Maybe a little, but mostly it was you." Seeing that Oliver wasn't upset, I felt confident enough to continue. It's nice to get attention from a young man, but nothing compares to what we have. All that energy, it's for you. That conversation opened the door to more candid discussions about our intimate life. We started sharing our fantasies, and our connection became more vibrant and frequent. I began experimenting with new lingerie, knowing how much Oliver loved stockings and heels. When we went out for dinner or drinks, I'd flirt with him, and I discovered a new side of my sexuality. Our conversations about fantasies also expanded, including hypothetical partners, usually celebrities or athletes. Throughout all of this, I constantly reassured Oliver how much I loved him and how lucky I was to have a partner who was open to exploring these things. We even started watching adult films together, some with themes of infidelity, which added a new level of excitement to our relationship. In the office, Harry often flirted with me, and I couldn't deny that I liked it. He regularly invited me out on dates, and though I always declined, a part of me secretly wanted to say yes. It became clear that I needed to talk to Oliver. One evening I decided to discuss it with him. "I love you more than anything in the world," I began. "You're the best husband I could have ever dreamed of." Oliver smiled warmly. "I love you too," he replied. "But something's bothering you, isn't it?" "No, everything's fine," I said, though I knew it was a lie. I reminded him of our previous conversation. "Do you remember when you asked if I was interested in trying something new in our intimate life? I've been thinking about it a lot, and I feel like I want to explore this curiosity before it's too late. I wonder if it would be different with someone else." Oliver's face showed confusion, but I was sure this was something that could benefit us both. I just needed him to understand what I meant. "Harry invited me to spend the weekend with him, and I want to go," I confessed, bracing for his reaction. "I think it might help us figure out some things we've talked about. Remember how much you liked that video about the open wife we watched? I thought maybe we could bring that fantasy to life." Oliver's voice remained calm, though there was a hint of resignation in it. "That was just a fantasy, Margaret. But maybe it could be something more for us," I continued. "Harry has been interested in me for a while. He knows about you, and I don't see him as a threat to our marriage. I enjoy his attention, and I want to be completely honest with you. I'll tell you everything that happens, and I promise it won't change my love for you." "Have you already done something with Harry?" Oliver asked, and there was pain in his voice. "No, we haven't done anything," I assured him. "We're professionals at work, and I've made sure everything stays appropriate. But I want to have a little fun, and I'll always come home to you." This wasn't an easy decision. I saw the confusion and hurt in Oliver's eyes, even though he barely spoke. His silence said more than words could. I knew it was hard for him to hear. The fact that I hadn't had an orgasm didn't bother him as much as it did me. I'd read that it was quite normal for women, but I couldn't shake the thought that it might be different with someone else. Oliver seemed stunned. His legs trembled and he leaned against the wall to keep from falling. Damn, I thought. Hurting him wasn't my goal, but at least he wasn't angry. I barely slept that night, and I was sure Oliver didn't either. I kept second-guessing whether I had made the right decision, and those doubts haunted me. In the morning, Oliver seemed a little calmer, which gave me hope. Maybe he saw the potential in this, even though it was difficult for him. I knew that these kinds of fantasies were far more common than people admitted, and I believed it could bring new life to our relationship. I didn't want to prolong the conversation. It was time to move forward. The thought of wearing lingerie for another man seemed surreal, but at the same time incredibly exciting. I put on a garter belt, a bra, and tiny thong panties that made me feel bold and a bit sophisticated. The fact that Harry was attractive and in good shape only increased my attraction to him. Guilt began to overwhelm me, but the anticipation quickly drowned it out. I packed my suitcase, mostly with dresses, shoes, and lingerie, and said goodbye to Oliver. "I'll be back on Sunday," I promised. "Be ready to meet me. I'll keep in touch. I want you to be part of this." Oliver didn't say anything, but I could see the anxiety and uncertainty on his face. I planned to check on him regularly to make sure he was okay. When Harry saw me in that outfit, his desire became immediately obvious. I made sure he saw my stockings, and the look in his eyes gave me a powerful rush of adrenaline. I wasn't planning on hiding anything from him. I wanted him to fully appreciate me. The tension between us was electric, and I couldn't contain my excitement for what lay ahead. "How did Oliver take the news about our trip?" Harry asked. "Not as well as I hoped," I admitted, "but not as badly as I feared. I was a bit surprised he didn't object more." "And he knows what we're going to do?" Harry asked. "Yes," I replied. I refined my approach, making it clearer but still respectful. I presented my words as if they were part of a shared journey, a common moment. Surprisingly, there was no resistance from his side. Did he really enjoy it? Maybe I should take the risk and reach out to him. Men like him sometimes enjoy a bit of light flirting and anticipation. However, I didn't want to make any assumptions. I decided to check in and dialed his number. "Hey, darling, I've arrived safely." "The hotel is amazing. How are you doing?" The silence on the other end made me frown, but soon my phone buzzed with a message. "Have a great time. I had dinner with Robert and Mary." That made me a little uneasy. What had he told the kids? I couldn't imagine him going into details. It would certainly make him uncomfortable. I hoped he was just keeping everything to himself, maybe thinking about me. But it was clear that he was distracting himself with other things. I replied, "Harry was a perfect gentleman. It feels like living in a fairy tale." His response was more cryptic than I expected. His messages were short, not as long as I would have liked, but there was no bitterness or pain in them. Harry noticed it too, and seemed to enjoy it, maybe even more than I was prepared for. I started to wonder if there was more truth behind this situation than I wanted to admit. "How about we send him a few of our photos?" Harry suggested. At first, I hesitated, but then I decided to go for it. I sent a few pictures from the restaurant, adding, "I'm grateful for everything we have, and I can imagine how much more joy we could share together." But after some thought, I changed it to, "We're having a wonderful time on our date." It seemed like the perfect subtle hint to stir something in Oliver. Memories of our anniversary here washed over me. "Looks like you're having a great time. You're all dressed up, though I noticed the ring is missing," he replied. His words took me back to that unforgettable anniversary night when everything felt magical. If tonight was even a fraction like that, it promised to be extraordinary. Maybe we should have picked a different place. I didn't want Oliver to feel replaced or forgotten. My ring still meant the world to me. "Don't worry, darling. By Sunday it'll be back on my finger when I return. I love you truly." Guilt crept in, but I reassured myself that enjoying time with Harry didn't diminish my love for Oliver. After dinner we had a few cocktails, and the tension between Harry and me became palpable. We declined the offer for another round and headed to the room. On the way, I quickly texted Oliver, "Heading up. Hope this excites you. I'll be the wife you love again, very soon. How are you feeling?" Before I could put my phone away, Harry pulled me close and kissed me so intensely that I trembled. "You won't regret this, Margaret," he whispered. "Maybe we could even make this a regular thing if Oliver's okay with it." His words sent a wave of excitement through me. I felt desired, and it was intoxicatingly new. Harry's touch made my body tingle with electric energy. I asked him to wait on the bed while I changed into something more fitting. In the bathroom, I unzipped my dress and glanced at myself in the mirror. The lingerie I bought for this moment looked stunning. But then I looked at my phone. Still nothing from Oliver. This was harder on him than I had expected. Although we had both agreed to this, his silence was troubling. I typed out another message. "Oliver, are you there? You've been so quiet today. I love you, darling." When I finally returned home, I hoped we could sort everything out. However, deep down, I doubted it was really possible. I stared at my phone, trying to understand what my husband was thinking. Of course, to some extent, he had to be questioning or regretting our decisions. That's just the reality of where we are now. I even sent him a few flirty selfies, posing in front of the bathroom mirror, showing off my lingerie and stockings. From the other room, Harry teased, asking if I was trying to make him wait on purpose. My phone vibrated, and I looked at the screen. "Yes," was all it said. But instead of excitement, it felt like my attempt had disappointed him. I didn't want to push further. Damn, things weren't going the way I had hoped. Those photos were supposed to bring us closer, but now everything felt wrong. I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. Maybe he wasn't as interested tonight as I thought. Just as I was about to send another message, the phone rang. "Forget it. Do you like puzzles?" "Puzzles?" He told me to check the first words of his messages. Confused, I went back and reread them. "Have fun. Forget. Forget." Then it hit me. Actually obvious. Yes. Divorce. Divorce. My heart sank. Damn it. I tried calling again, but still no answer. Panicking, I hastily got dressed, struggling to put on my shoes while Harry looked at me in confusion. "I need to go home. Now," I said in a rush. Harry was stunned, but quickly tried to calm me, asking what was going on. I shoved the phone at him, showing him the messages. "Damn. You don't think he's going to do something crazy, do you? I don't want my wife finding out about this," Harry muttered nervously. "Wait, you're married?" I blurted out, rushing out of the bathroom and frantically sending more messages. "I'm coming. On my way," I wrote, praying for some kind of response. Harry grabbed his car keys and we ran out of the house. I kept trying to call, but there was still no answer. I left a voicemail, my mind racing. There was nothing more I could do. "I'm coming home," I wrote again. This time, the response came almost immediately. "Margaret had her fun. Thanks for the heads up. Gives me time to prepare." Fear gripped me. "Please don't do anything rash," I begged. Everything felt like a terrible mistake. Even loving him now felt wrong. Then another message arrived. "Legally, I have no other choice." In desperation, I tried to explain myself. "I'm not seeing him anymore. I choose you." But his reply was colder than before. "It's pointless. You wanted him, and I don't want to hold you back. Your body, your choice." "Did you at least know he's married with 3 kids?" he added. "Take your time. I'm leaving. I got fired just before retirement, and I'm going traveling." His last message was like a punch to the gut. "Oh yeah, by the way, I found another word." I scrolled through the messages again. Chance, love, law, whore. My heart clenched. When I finally pulled up to the house, everything felt wrong. A "for sale" sign was staked in the front yard. I had poured so much love into this home. It had been my sanctuary. But now it was all falling apart. Inside, on the kitchen table, lay the divorce papers, already signed by Oliver. Most of his clothes and personal belongings were gone. The realization hit me like a sudden, crushing blow. He was slipping away, the person who meant everything to me. We had shared so much. Every conversation flowed effortlessly, always filled with laughter. He was the center of my universe, and now that universe was crumbling as he drifted further away. In a desperate attempt to hold on to him, I sent one more message. "This can't be the end. I love you, and I know you love me too." For 2 agonizing weeks I waited, clinging to the hope of a response. But nothing came. His silence was like an endless abyss. No matter how many times I reached out, there was no answer. I was consumed by grief. He took half of our savings and packed up the things that mattered most to him. Then, one day, an envelope arrived in the mail, his unmistakable handwriting on the front. Inside was something that knocked the wind out of me, his wedding ring. I broke down again, unable to hold back the tears. The next day, my phone buzzed with a message from him. "Hey, just wanted to let you know I arrived safely. The resort is amazing." I stared at the screen, hoping for more, but that was all. Attached was a photo of a beach, so beautiful it looked unreal, the water a vibrant blend of turquoise and jade. The image was stunning, but my heart felt heavy. I quickly typed a response. "I'm sorry, Oliver. Please, just come home." But then something strange happened. His next message sent a shock through me. He said he was now living his dream and mentioned a woman named Emily, who was kind and welcoming. He sent another picture, this time of a tanned woman lying on a lounge chair in a green and yellow bikini. It hit me like a punch. He was throwing my own words back at me, the ones I had sent in a moment of weakness that night with Harry. His message was filled with bitterness. "It's amazing here, every day. Oh, and I saw you returned the ring. Respect for that. Hope you're doing well." Then came the final, crushing blow. No chance for reconciliation. This was goodbye. My heart tightened as I read and reread those cold words. It was clear. It was over. But Oliver didn't stop there. He went further, forwarding all the messages I had sent to Harry that night by email, to Harry's wife, to my relatives, and even to our children. Harry called me, furious, raging that his wife had kicked him out and filed for divorce. He blamed me and my messages, and I blamed him for being insistent that night. My relatives were beside themselves with anger and confusion, trying to make sense of what had happened. But the most painful, the deepest blow, was from my children. Their disappointment was unbearable. Without hesitation, they told me not to expect Oliver to ever come back. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.